Well, maybe I could just start off and tell you a little bit about how we came there. In 1970 we became believers. Richard Haverkamp was in Clinton doing some special meetings, and a friend of mine invited us, and after a long struggle of trying to find out who God was and who Christ was and whether he actually died for me, on Easter Sunday morning 1970 I became a believer. And about 2 years after that, we had started to do all kinds of evangelism in Clinton. We started with the Boys and Girls Club. We had a drive-in service on our farm. We had a whole bunch of people come on Sunday evenings in the summertime. And we did all kinds of stuff. So by about 1972, Richard and Marina ended up in Belgium. And by about 1973, he started to write us letters. Why don't you come over and help us? And I thought, this guy's, right out of it. I mean, I was up to here in debt. And through a whole lot of things that God directed, we came there in 1974 for the first time to check out the land. And I fell in love with Belgium, which really was almost impossible because I'm from Dutch background. And in 1968, I swore I'd never go back to Holland because Holland was just a tiny little country. It was cold, it was wet, the beds were even wet, but they weren't. But, so I said to my wife in Schiphol, in Amsterdam, I said, this is the last time we're ever coming back here. And I'll never ever say this is the last time. Because in '74, here we were in Brussels, and I just thought it was ingenious. It was beautiful. Great country. We went to an assembly that had been going for probably about a year. About 25 people got together there, and the Lord really laid on our hearts that we should come. Went back to Canada, and the Giants, they started to come, and I didn't know the language very well. My children and wife didn't know the language at all. We didn't know the culture. Who was I? You never went to Bible school or anything like that. What could we possibly do in Belgium? So I wanted to know God's will for my life. And I knew that already, but I wanted, somehow that God would show that. And what I really basically wanted, I wanted him to tell me to go, and then I wanted to have the thing of where I could say yes or no. And God doesn't respond to that. Unless you say, Lord, whatever you want, he won't show you your will. So one of the things I would say to anybody who wants to go into the mission field, if there's a call and it's a genuine call of God, try and talk God out of it. And if you can talk God out of it, if you can have peace, say you want to go Zimbabwe or you want to go to wherever it might be, and you can somehow convince God, I don't have to go. And it works, you have peace, don't go. Because if you go and you're not sure of your calling, you're not going to stay there very long. Richard Haverkamp told me many, many times when we were in Belgium, he said, if I hadn't known that God had called me to Belgium, I would have packed my bags many, many times. But if you know the Lord called you, then that's a total different thing.